So I need to get a commitment from all the nominees. First, congratulations on your nomination, and thanks to you and your families for your desire to serve your country again. Most of you have done it already in many capacities, so thank you on that. Can I get a commitment from all of you to come up to Alaska with me and see what General Billy Mitchell called the most strategic place in the world? There's a lot going on in Alaska right now. We got the Russians and Chinese and our AIDAs and our EEZ. We're on the front lines of great power competition. Every day, 6 Russian incursions since August. Doesn't make a lot of news down here, but it's important and it's serious. So can I get a commitment from each of you to join me up in my great state? Why don't we just go through the list here? And have any of you been before?
Senator, absolutely. If confirmed, I'd look forward to making that visit. I have not had the chance yet, and I'd love to do that.
Great.
Senator, I have not been to Alaska yet, but I would absolutely, if confirmed, commit to visiting.
Great.
Senator, I've had the opportunity to visit Alaska multiple times, including J-Bear, and if confirmed, I'd welcome the opportunity to join you in the state.
Great. Thanks, Mr.
Senator Sullivan, I have not visited Alaska yet, but I look forward to doing so.
Good. Well, thank you. And, you know, we had a hearing the other day. I was a little bit hot under the collar on kind of responsiveness. Can I get a commitment from all of you, if confirmed, that you'll work with the committee, the chairman, the ranking member, all of us? There's a lot of knowledge here over the years, decades, centuries, on military matters. We're not always right, but, you know, we want to work with you guys to make you successful. This is a really bipartisan committee. The national defense of our nation is pretty much a bipartisan issue. So can I get a commitment that, if confirmed, that you will work with us, be responsive, you know, get your cell number, things like that? I certainly don't abuse that, but it's important to have a good relationship. Can I get each of yours commitment on that?
Absolutely, Senator.
Yes, Senator.
Great.
Yes, Senator.
Okay.
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Payne, I want to start with you. CAPE, you know, CAPE has an up and down reputation. I've seen it throughout my military career where they do things where you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. They do other stuff where you're like, what in the hell are they doing? I need you to commit to me to take a look at this issue of amphibs in the Marine Corps. There's a huge dispute right now between what the Navy has in terms of its capabilities to build amphibs. They're typically not interested in purchasing or building amphibs, or I would just say it's low on their priority. For the Marine Corps, it's kind of number one, right? And for combatant commanders, it's very high up there as well. There's a split right now. I wish the Secretary of the Navy would kind of help us get there, because the Marines think we need a lot more amphibs. The Navy has said, I don't think so. So can you work with me, maybe come in and see me on this? I feel very strongly about the Marine Corps having what we call a 3.0 MEU-ARG capability. Are you aware what that phrase means?
Yes, Senator.
Do you agree with that phrase? Do you agree with that as a part of our strategy as it deals with amphibs and Marine Corps capability to deploy, kicking doors anywhere in the world?
Senator, yes, my understanding is that that capability is essential to the Marine Corps, to their joint force, to their force design, and to our strategy.
And it's a lot of our combatant commanders think it's a critical capability. So that's another thing. So can I get your commitment to work with me on that?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Velez Green, you've written a lot on the homeland. I think that's a important focus. It's kind of the start, really, of national security, I think. I had a good meeting with Undersecretary Colby yesterday, where he walked me through a lot of the pillars of the NDS that the Pentagon's working on right now, which I appreciated a lot. Give me your sense on homeland security, and in particular the Arctic. As I mentioned, there's so much going on. You know, when I first got here, I'll never forget, the Obama administration had its Arctic strategy. I held up in a hearing with the Secretary of Defense and said, this is a joke. It's a joke, right? It was all about climate change. Had nothing to do with real wars. Mentioned climate change a bunch of times. Mentioned Russia once in a footnote. It was a joke. The Arctic, North Pacific is not a joke. Like I said, it's the front line of Great power competition. Can you briefly just touch on your views on homeland security as it relates to the Arctic?
Yes, Senator. I would say first and foremost, in cognizant of time, Alaska is the homeland, so we have a responsibility to defend Alaska just as a starting point. I think in terms of defending the lower 48 as well, Alaska has long played a vital role from a missile defense perspective and otherwise. I expect that will continue to be the case for no other reason other than physics and geography. As the FIC becomes harder, the first island chain to operate in, Alaska will also is already critical. I expect it will become only more critical. With
In
that,
the one big beautiful bill, we got $115 million to reopen the ADAC Navy base, which we want you guys to implement, not fight. But that's an example of what you're talking about.
Yes, Senator. And maybe as just a brief last point, one of the things I took from my visit to Alaska when I was an NSA to a member on this committee was the value of the Arctic training capabilities in Alaska that's just not possible elsewhere and does have application across a variety of AORs. And so that's just another example of Alaska and the Arctic's vital role in our nation's defense.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had one more question for Mr. Velez Green. It's relating to Taiwan. You've written about Taiwan a lot. It's a really important area for our national security. It's been a island democracy for decades and also a critical element of the free world's economy. And the United States, our support, our military has pretty much kept it free for decades. That's a fact. You've written that unlike in Ukraine, this is your words, Taiwan's defense will require more than military aid from the United States. Taiwan's defense will require U.S. intervention. Can you talk about what constitutes a credible deterrent with regard to Taiwan? Because I think that's the key. And the importance of allies and partners, not just us, as it relates to Taiwan. And then finally, how we can speed the delivery of arms sales with regard to Taiwan. It's hard to demand that they spend more on their defense, which they should, and I know the administration's been doing that, and I'm fine with that, to encourage them to spend more. But if we can't then deliver the weapons that they need, that's a little bit of a quandary for them. So if you can kind of package those three different questions I just asked on Taiwan in an answer.
Thank you, Senator. Above all, I certainly want to be very, in an absolute sense, deferential to the President's intent and the Secretary's guidance.
Understand.
With respect to Taiwan and the first island chain, this is critical terrain when we think about operating from a position of military strength in the Indo-Pacific. Having forceful deterrence along that geography is vital to ensuring a balance of power that allows us to achieve our ends.
And we've said that here, correct? The Taiwan Relations Act, the Congress of the United States, in a very exceptional piece of legislation that still rules our relationship with Taiwan today, said that military force taking over Taiwan would be of grave concern to the United States. That's about as high a level of national security strategic interest from our country as you get, correct? That's still the case, isn't it?
Yes, Senator, that is to my knowledge.
Oh, it is. It's in the law. But
Yes.
do you agree with that? The answer is yes.
Senator.
You agree with the law?
Oh, I certainly agree with the law, yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes. With respect just to the other elements of your question, in terms of how to maintain a robust deterrent in the first island chain, Taiwan included, we operate under sort of focus on the question of the denial of defense.
Yep.
What is required to convince Xi Jinping in particular that any attempt at aggression will not only be costly, but that it will ultimately fail,
Good.
and therefore is not worth attempting in the first place. This is, to your point, Senator, in substantial part a question of what the joint force, what options we can provide to the president if and when required. It is also vitally a question about what our allies and partners are able to do in that critical geography. This is something that is a central focus. I have the opportunity to work very closely on matters related to these countries in this particular area over the course of my tenure and prior, and helping them, incentivizing them, and then enabling them to step up. I believe Admiral Paparo said that has a disproportionate effect on our ability to achieve denial just by virtue of terrain and positional advantage. In terms of, but then I think, Senator, to your very right observation, it is all good and well to incentivize folks to step up, but if we cannot get them the weapons they need to do so, that is a problem, and that is something that we are That is why, as I believe you spoke to the Undersecretary about yesterday, the DIB is such a central and explicit part of what we are doing. We want to get to a place where there's no question about our ability not just to deliver, but to sustain the ability of those partners to do their part alongside U.S. forces to ensure a lasting deterrent in the Indo-Pacific, also in other regions, Europe and the Middle East especially. That is, I think, a critical element of peace through strength on an enduring basis.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.